Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat. Today we're going to be talking about Aston Villa and whether they can qualify for the UEFA Champions League. So let's talk about Villa's season so far, Harry. Very impressive campaign from the Villains.
It's been crazy. It's actually been mental how good they've been.
It started with arguably the worst game possible with a 5-1 loss to Newcastle, yet somehow they now find themselves fourth in the table. How has this happened?
I honestly don't know. It has been a weird one. They sit fourth, but as you say, they lost 5-0. They lost to Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, 5th of November.
Rubbish.
Lost 2-0. Drew with Wolves at the start of October. A 1-0 draw there. They've also lost 2 games in the Conference League, I think. Or at least 1 game in the Conference League. Weird season for Aston Villa so far. Yet they're somehow in the top 4. They were knocked out by Everton in the EFL Cup. Yet they're still here. So really, really good from Aston Villa. Find themselves in the Champions League spots. The big question is whether that's sustainable.
I mean, yeah, it's a really good one. I mean, imagine if they've won those games. They'd be top of the league. It's been brilliant.
That is the crazy thing.
And I think, the
2 points off top now.
It's crazy. I think the main thing has been that home form. I believe it is something like 14 Premier League home wins in a row. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, they're unbeaten at home this season. They've won all of them, of course, as you're saying there with the 14 consecutive, 18 from 18. If they'd only won a couple more of those away losses, then they'd probably be in a very, very strong position right now. But good for Aston Villa so far. Whether it's sustainable, that remains to be seen. Their next 2 home league games are Manchester City and then Arsenal, both within 3 days. So that's going to be an interesting week for them. Do you think they can win both those matches?
Possibly. I mean, they've got to give it their best shot, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's been really key. It's been what Emery's come in and done to the club. I mean, the way he came in last year and that second half of the season for Villa was astonishing. And obviously there was talk, they had the form of champions. They had, I think it was the 3rd best form apart from City and Arsenal in that second half of the season. Everyone thought they could go on to big things. Lost 5-1 to Newcastle opening day. Everyone thought, oh dear, they're in big trouble here.
Yeah.
What a recovery. 4th is incredible.
Yeah, it is really strong. And as you say, I think a lot of people were doubting Villa, thinking, is this perhaps second season syndrome for Unai Emery? Have the transfers not paid off? But they seem to be in a good position right now. Even yesterday, Tielemans actually played really well against Tottenham. And he's been one player that's sort of been ostracised by Emery so far. So I think that's quite good. Obviously, Diaby as well. Oh, no, Leon Bailey, sorry, from the bench, had a really good impact against Tottenham as well. So, yeah, I mean, on that game yesterday, very impressive stuff. Against a very decent Tottenham side. They went 1 goal down, managed to get it back on the stroke of half-time, and then a Watkins goal in the second half was crucial. But overall, really, really positive stuff. And as I was saying there, some really good substitutions from Emery. Tielemans coming on, Bailey coming on, both having really profound impacts. But yeah, overall, very good shape, very good system, and they're playing some really good stuff.
They are, and they are doing really well. And I think the main thing you mentioned, substitutes there. But I think the thing that Emery's hit the nail on the head with this season is squad depth.
Yeah.
With a few injuries, Villa used to look a bit bare bones. Carlos was out last year. You had Mings and Konza. Apart from that, you had Callum Chambers. And bringing in players like Pau Torres to come in and cover. You can then push Konza out to right back. Cash is out at the moment. Well, Cash came back and got injured again.
Yeah.
Other players have struggled at times this year with injuries. And Villa have coped with that pretty decently.
But yeah, I think it's quite interesting because I don't look at this Villa squad as incredibly strong. I think they've got some really decent players in it. But overall, should it be anywhere near where it is? Probably not. I look at Watkins, I would say he starts for most teams outside the top 6, but he doesn't get in any of the top 6 teams, I don't think. I'm not including United. They're not a top 6 side. They're a big 6 side. They're not in that top 6, though. So does Watkins get in most other teams in the league? Probably, but he doesn't get in. He doesn't get in City. He probably gets in Arsenal.
Yeah,
I would say. Does he get in Tottenham? Probably not. Well, potentially depends whether they play. Yeah. If they played someone out wide, he could. So, but other than that, and on most of the other teams, I think he starts for. So he's one of their best players. Pau Torres, a similar story. I don't think he starts for City. Don't think he starts for Arsenal. Don't think he starts for Chelsea, for Tottenham, for Liverpool. But I do think he starts, or maybe Liverpool. Definitely starts for United. Possibly, probably not Chelsea, but yeah, I think for most other teams he starts. Basically, though, they're the only 2 players I would say are nailed on for most other teams in the league. The rest of them, like John McGinn, doesn't get anywhere near the City side.
But he's been incredible.
But he's done really well this season. So that's the thing, isn't it?
He turns himself into a top 4 player. And he's had a brilliant season, both for Villa and on the international stage. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Scotland at the moment, but him, McTominay and the like.
Whatever they're putting in the water, keep doing it because it's going well. But yeah.
And again, Douglas Smith's had a brilliant season. I know his goals are helped from the spot, but also, from open play, he's scored a few. And
he's done really well. Looks like a good creator. Another player that just doesn't get in many other teams.
Bukayo Kamara, he's back to fitness this season, and he's shown why he was such a great deal on a free transfer. Emi Martinez proving time and time again why he won that Yashin trophy.
Yeah, well,
that
one was a little bit because we love the World Cup, but yeah, I think that Villa, they're doing really well to punch above their weight with a squad that shouldn't really be where they are, but they're doing really well. It's been part of a really smart period for Aston Villa since they got re-promoted to the Premier League and they managed to avoid relegation thanks to Orjan Neeland turning off the VAR system. Turning off our technology system. They have done really well. Some really good investment. I think Purslow, I believe it is. It Purslow? Deserves a lot of credit for that because they have done well with Villa, not only on the pitch with the transfers, but also with their recruitment. In terms of Unai Emery. They brought in one of the a very good manager in Unai Emery and one of the best underdog managers, which is exactly what they need. They knew the profile they needed. It wasn't going to go and be a Carlo Ancelotti and spend loads of money on him, or a Hansi Flick, or one of them. It needed to be someone who would come in, had something to prove in the Premier League, and was really good with underdogs. And we've seen with Unai Emery, that's what he's got a history of doing. Look at his time at Sevilla. Won all the Europa Leagues, but never punched through that ceiling. He won, did really well with Villarreal, got him to the semis, but again, never quite punched through that ceiling. So whether Villa will need to start considering that remains to be seen. Whether Villa can take that next step with Emery remains to be seen. But for now, it's working a treat, and it's got them in a position where they are genuinely in the hunt for the title this season.
Yeah, and they look brilliant. And you see even things like obviously they brought in Monchi earlier this year when Johan Lange left for Tottenham, and I mean, well, that's what he didn't look very happy on Sunday. But I think Villa look very good
with Monchi. It's going to be interesting to see whether that pays off, whether that works. Obviously, he's done really good stuff at Sevilla, but then it was Roma he was at most recently, and he really struggled there. Some odd signings, and it just didn't really work. I think he went back to Sevilla, and it didn't really work. But he is a good director of football. Whether he can continue the good work of Lange or not, or Lange, it was going to be interesting to see. Overall, though, Villa, really well-run club, very decent side. I think the big question is, can they finish in the top four? They're there at the moment. Can they finish there?
I think it's going to be a tough one because, as we know, Tottenham will come back, stronger, and Villa are right now in form. And in form, they look unbeatable, especially at home. That home form is ridiculous, by the way. Like 14 wins in a row. Your home ground is insane. Like that is.
Yeah, definitely.
When people say you make your home ground a fortress, that is the meaning of it. But I feel like if Villa do have a game off form, or because they are right now, and they're in 14, and that carries on, they'll stay exactly where they are. If they drop their form a little bit, though, I think they will slip down the table slightly.
Yeah, I would say they've had a slightly fortuitous fixture so far. Obviously, Newcastle today was never going to be a nice fixture, and that was a pretty poor result. Other than that, they've only played Liverpool, and I guess you could say Chelsea. Obviously, they beat them. They played Chelsea at a good time to play them. They played Tottenham at a good time to play them as well. The fact that Tottenham have had all those injuries coming into that game, it helped Villa. The next one's going to be really interesting. There's Bournemouth up next. Who cares? Bournemouth next Sunday. It's not going to be the best game ever. But then they've got City on the 6th, Arsenal on the 9th. Those two matches are going to be pivotal as to whether Villa are actually there or not. Because even if they draw both of them, they take big points off of title rivals, and they cement themselves in a really solid position in order to fight for the top four.
It's not only the result they get. I think it's not only the amount of points they get, but it's the performance. If they can host City, I mean, their home form's been incredible. So they can host City and get a point, or they host City and only lose 1-0, that's a decent result. If they can, again, is it go to Arsenal or host Arsenal?
Another host as well, so 2 home games there. After a favourable away type ball, if they get 3 wins at there, they could go into Christmas top of the league, especially since they run over Christmas. It's Brentford away on the 17th, Sheffield United at home on the 22nd. It only gets easier from there because they play United away on the 26th. They play Burnley at home on the 30th and Everton at their first week once they get back from internationals. From not internationals, New Year break, and obviously FA Cup fixtures. But a lovely run.
That is a really nice run. And
Provided they don't pick up any serious injuries.
I think at the moment it is all about momentum for Aston Villa, and they've got to keep the good times rolling while they can. Because realistically, I think they wanted to improve on Conference League football. The fact they got Conference League last year was incredible.
Leicester won a title just from momentum. Yeah. So if they can do it, Villa can do it. It'll be so funny as well if City's dominance at the top of the table has finally ended and it's by Unai Emery's Aston Villa team. But yeah, we're talking realistically. Title probably not on the cards.
No,
I think that's going to go
13 games in.
Yeah, the top 3 are probably going to fight for that. Yeah. City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Whether any of them fall away will depend on whether Saka can stay fit.
Yeah.
Whether Liverpool can. I mean, they're fine really. Even if Salah gets injured, they'll probably be better. They'll sign someone in January.
Yeah.
And City, well, unless they are expelled from the Premier League, they're going to be up there. Then that sort of leaves the next fight, which is Villa and Tottenham. Because I don't think United are there. No. I mean, they're the most informed team in the league.
I don't honestly.
In the last 6 matches, they've taken 15 points more than anyone else. They're crap.
You look at their game there. 1-0 to Luton, 1-0 to Sheffield. The Everton game, Garnacho scored a goal which people are now calling goal of the season and comparing. It was very good. I don't like the comparisons to Wayne Rooney, though. I don't like that.
I would argue it's a better goal than Rooney.
Yeah. But
I know the Rooney goal is very good, and obviously the occasion opposite. But I think the Garnacho goal is better.
But I think you look at United are in really good form. But I look at it and go, even that Everton game, it was an absolute worldie and a penalty. That's not convinced. That's not good attacking football. That's your wonder kid scored an incredible goal.
Yeah, the fact they're not going to be in the Champions League knockout station unless they win on Wednesday night, which I just don't. Or Tuesday night, Wednesday night, I can't remember. I think it might be Tuesday actually.
Tuesday.
But if they lose that, they're out, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put themselves in a really silly position. United. I have no idea how they are 6th in the league and only 4 points behind Villa, and only 6 points off top. No idea. Newcastle, I think, are still in the fight for 4th. They've been really inconsistent this season, but given the fact they just won 4-1 against Chelsea, despite having such a depleted side, very impressive stuff. Obviously, they lost their game before that, 2-0 to Bournemouth. So good to get back to winning ways. They are helped out by Chelsea being a bit lacklustre. Brighton, are they serious for top 4?
They're up and down as a problem with Brighton.
Yeah, big win against Forest the weekend. It was great to see De Zerbi so animated, but as you say, up and down. Drew with Sheffield United the game before that. Drew with Everton the game before that. Drew with Fulham the game before that. So a tough run of silly draws for Brighton.
If you take 6
points from those, an extra 6 points from those 3 games, they sit level with Aston Villa. Potentially head on goal difference. West Ham, I think they've found their peak. It can only get worse.
Ward-Prowse can't get them higher.
I think they'll sit happily 9th. Potentially Chelsea, if they can sort their act together, will bounce up a few spots. But I think 9th, 10th, that's sort of where West Ham are going to end up. And then after that, no one's pushing up there. So
it feels like Villa are in a position where if they keep this good form going just for a while, they'll put themselves so far out of sight that it won't matter what happens in the end of the year, and they should get Europa League at least.
I think the biggest thing for Villa at the moment is turning those losses into draws.
Yeah.
Because the noticeable difference between them and teams like City, Arsenal, Liverpool is Villa have drawn just 1 match all season. There's only one team in the league with lower, and that is Manchester United. Because United never draw.
No.
If they get to the last few minutes, one of the defenders will kick it in the back of their own net, or Bruno Fernandes will put it in the right net. But Villa, the second most draws, second least draws in the league, I should say. Sorry, and yet they've got 3 losses up there. They turn a couple of those into draws, couple more points in there, just pushes them up and into first place. So they've just got to try and stay in those games.
Yeah.
As I say, Arsenal, City, both going to be really crucial games for the title race. I'm very intrigued to see whether Aston Villa can get anything from those games and where they go from there.
Yeah.
And in terms of the Conference League, well, it shouldn't be too much of a bother from now. They are second in their group, but they're already 6 points ahead of the Rinky monster. And if they beat them on Thursday, so tomorrow at the time when this goes out, will be...
I couldn't take myself seriously if I played for a team called Shrinsky Mostar.
It's Shrinsky Mostar, but I think Shrinky Monster's funny, so Shrinky Monster now. But
bottom as well.
Yeah, that's embarrassing from AZ. Would have
Villa
expected them
should
to be
win that
higher.
company though. The fact that Legia Warsaw are top is a bit embarrassing at the moment.
Yeah.
But Villa have...
Villa play Legia this week, so potentially...
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, exactly. So if Villa win that, they go top, and they only have to play Shrinky Monster. So to win the group.
I'm sure they're nice people.
Probably, who knows? They could be drinking monsters. But yeah, I feel that Villa, they're definitely put themselves in good stead. Whether that can actually result in Champions League football, I would expect them to be in the Europa League next season. Especially given the fact that 5 teams now will be in the Champions League from England. I think a lot of people are forgetting that when talking about Champions League football. Even if Villa were to slip to 5th, as long as the coefficient stays high enough for England, we would get 5 teams through.
Because Villa should be out there in the conference, Liverpool and Brighton should be out there in the Europa League, and City will probably win the Champions League again.
Yeah, so that'll probably give one more spot to English clubs in Europe, which should be good. I think it'd be even better if like Brighton were able to win the Europa League and not come in the top 8, because then we could get loads of teams through.
Who's our 4th team in the Champions League?
What do you mean? This season?
City, Arsenal, United,
and Newcastle.
Oh yeah, they're not very far, are they?
Probably not, but they could get to Europa. Well, no, they were sat. Well, they were sat in the top 3, weren't they? And then they lost to Dortmund
twice. That's bad.
Didn't they draw the other one?
No, they lost both times.
Newcastle, come on.
Yeah, that's really
woeful.
cool.
But yeah, 1-0 and then 2-0. But that has put them in a bit of a difficult situation. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see who does progress, who does get Champions League and all the different European spots.
It's tight though.
Yeah, probably. There's everything for today, though.
Yeah.
Good video, hopefully. I hope you've enjoyed it. Aston Villa, can they get Champions League football? Answer in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Leaving likes massively helps the video pushed out to everyone on the planet. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here. We're trying to hit 2K for the end of the year. 1.8K or 88 at the moment. We are 120 off with a month to go. It's a big ask. Can we do it? Well, that all relies on you lot at home. But that's everything from us today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.